Hey guys, Demon here, and today I'm finally getting into my Rick and Morty reviews. I said I was going to get into this when Rick and Morty Season 3 ended, if I'm not mistaken it was Season 3. Because I have reviewed the last few episodes of Season 3 of Rick and Morty. I just haven't had the time to get into this. I know it's been quite a long time, a few months at least. But I'm finally getting into it. I'm not going to do it like normal. I'm not going to review episode by episode. What I'm going to do is review season by season. And I'm also going to review something else, but you'll have to wait till that video comes out. So, first season. Season 1, let's begin. So, Rick and Morty, episode 1, well, season 1, episode 1. I forgot the name, but it will be in the description. Probably not the title, but the description for sure. I'll put down all the names of every episode of this season. So, this episode, pretty good. It shows off what we get to know the characters. A little bit different than what we get to know a little bit later in the show, but still pretty good. It shows off some weird stuff that I didn't notice the first time I watched it. Like, they said that they would never do time travel, yet in this episode, Rick goes to a future dimension, and he spends a lot of time there, so I guess that's kind of time travel, but they said they would never do time travel. Maybe they forgot about that, but that does happen in this episode. What else? What else was I going to bring up? I guess that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the negatives. I think there's something else. I don't know. But anyways, it's okay. It's an okay episode. It leads into what becomes better, obviously, but it's an okay episode. That's all I have to say for episode 1. On to episode 2. So, episode 2 of Rick and Morty Season 1. This episode is pretty good. It shows more of a wacky side of Rick and Morty, where Rick and Morty kind of do an Inception sort of thing, like the movie. To be honest, I've never actually seen Inception, so I don't know if it's like it exactly, but I guess it is. So they go into his teacher's mind to get him good grades. And also, it has a second plotline of the dog, of Morty's dog, becoming intelligent because Rick made it intelligent. And you could ask the question, why doesn't Rick make Morty intelligent to get him better grades? But then again, you might be like, maybe that's why evil Morty exists, because Rick, or a version of Rick, did that to a Morty in the first place, made him intelligent, what made him evil. That's a little bit of a thing, hey? So it's pretty interesting to see the dogs take over in a dream in Inception world. Okay, first off, let's not talk about the dogs first off. Let's talk about the first plot line, which is the teacher plot line. They go into his dreams, and then they go into a dream in his dreams. Like a sex dream. It's really weird, and Summer's there because I guess his teacher's secretly, or like really repressively, a freaking pedophile. And then they go into a dream in a dream, and it's his nightmare. And then that nightmare comes out with them and helps them get more to good grades. Yeah, that's what happens. And then there's the dog plot line, where basically a dog takes over the world. And Morty has it really good. I gotta say that much. Morty has it really good. And it's a pretty cool plot line. It's pretty funny. And at the end, it turns out it was all a dream, Inception. And they leave the planet because they're not us. Because we don't treat dogs well. Or some of us don't. I think a lot of us do, but some of us don't. And they're not us. But anyways, that's the second episode. Really good. Pretty funny. And that's about all I have to say about it. Anyways, next episode. So, episode 3 of season 1 of Rick and Morty. This episode is a Christmas episode. There's 2 plot lines. Let's get over the weaker one first. the family plot line where no one has a device and they're all talking about Jerry and stuff and Summer's boyfriend and also Jerry's dad's a cuck. I mean, yeah, sorry. I mean, if you're a cuck, all power to you. I guess that's your fetish. Personally, if my girlfriend ever fucked anybody else, I'd probably be pissed off. But, if that's your fetish, that's fine with everybody else, I guess. Power to you. Jerry, I don't know why he had such a problem with that. Maybe it's because it was his parents. Although, personally, I don't really care about my parents' sex lives, so... Or any of my family's sex lives, to be honest. So, yeah. Unless, they were a child, and I was just like, you shouldn't have a sex life because you're a child. And then I'd probably yell at the person that did and probably get them arrested. Just that's the only time you should care. But if not, you shouldn't care. Unless, of course, they get raped, then obviously you should call the police. Other than that, you should not care about your family's sex life. Unless it's your wife. Or husband, or girlfriend. I guess that's not your family yet, so. But anyways, that's kind of a lame plot line. And then we have the Anatomy Park plot line, basically a giant ripoff of, or a parody, I should say, not a ripoff, a parody of Jurassic Park. Pretty interesting, pretty funny points there. Morty almost hooks up with a girl. But at the end, she gets sent back into a human. Sorry about that. And then Rick kind of just forgets about it because at the end of that, he's just like, screw you guys for not wanting to do the pancreas, Pirates of the Pancreas. But yeah, man, poor Morty. He almost had something there. But yeah. Pretty funny, all in all. It's a good episode, but nothing to brag about. Just a good episode. And man, I feel sorry for Morty. Almost had something. Anyways, that's all for this episode, I guess. Episode 4. So, episode 4 of Season 1, Rick and Morty. This episode is all about Rick in a simulation. These aliens are trying to get him to devolve. Say his secret formula for super fast travel in space. He obviously tricks them at the end, even though he's in a simulation, And at the end, he actually, goes up to Morty and almost kills him and says, are you a simulation, you little shit? He has a knife to his neck. He's just like, are you simulation? That's pretty funny. And in this simulation, Jerry's with him, so that's pretty cool. And this alien race hates nudity for some reason. I don't know why. And this is the episode where Jerry gets fired. Maybe if he didn't use that slogan, he should have known that slogan was stupid. And, just stayed in the corner or actually came up with something better. But I guess it's Jerry, and Jerry's not really that smart. But anyways, all in all, this episode was pretty good. I liked the simulation part. I liked the ending where he thought he was still in the simulation, just double checking if he was still in the simulation. Maybe he is. Maybe the whole show was a simulation. It's kind of like the holodeck in Star Trek, which is pretty cool. You can do a lot of things with the holodeck. I kind of want one myself. If you know what I mean. But anyways, it was a pretty cool episode. Pretty good. Let's go on to episode 5. Season 1, episode 5 of Rick and Morty. This episode, very interesting. There's two plot lines. Mr. Meeseeks, where Beth, Summer, and Jerry all have Mr. Meeseeks helping them with things. Beth and Summer get them done really quickly, and Beth almost divorces Jerry. Jerry, on the other hand, couldn't do it, so Mr. Meeseeks went crazy and said, "We're either going to kill you or you're going to learn how to do it," sort of thing. And it's pretty cool, pretty funny. Beth is just like, I might leave on a trip somewhere, and just go far away. I kind of understand where Beth is coming from, but kind of don't. Because if you're in a relationship that you're not comfortable with anymore, or you don't love the other person anymore, you shouldn't stay in that relationship. Even like if you're forcing yourself to for the kids or whatever, you should not stay in that relationship. But at the same time, just because you get rid of that relationship doesn't mean that you should just leave, because you still have children, you still have responsibilities. Like, in season 3, she divorces Jerry, but she stays with the kids. But in this episode, she was just like, I'm going to go somewhere, you can take care of the kids. Like, I can kind of understand that, but at the same time, it's like, you still have responsibilities, girl. You gotta stay with your kids, like, Jesus Christ. Come on. But, that almost happened. But at the end, she stays with him because, Mr. Meeseeks wasn't right, I guess. And she realized that she still loved him. And then we have Rick and Morty's adventure. This time it's Morty's adventure. And it's pretty cool, pretty funny. The giant dies. He has to get money for a town. And he almost gets raped. So that's a thing. It traumatizes him, I guess. If you almost get raped, it probably traumatizes you. If you get raped, it definitely traumatizes you. But yeah, so that's a thing. So pretty interesting all in all. And that's pretty much it for this episode. Let's go on to episode 6. Rick and Morty, season 1, episode 6. This is the episode where they Cronenberg everybody. This episode is actually really cool, really good, and kind of funny. It brings up a lot of questions, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So first off, we have two plot lines, sort of. One with Jared where he thinks Beth is cheating on him, and one with Morty where he wants to basically get a date for the dance and also get laid. So Rick makes him a formula, or has a formula, I guess. He already has it. Or I guess he does make it, sort of. So he makes him a formula that will infect this girl and make her fall in love with him. Even though he's like, unless she has the flu. And I guess he didn't realize that, like, maybe she would get him, like, maybe in the future she would get the flu. Or maybe the formula wears off at that point, or sort of thing. I'm not sure, because eventually she's probably going to get the flu. So I don't really know what he was thinking there. But yeah, so she has the flu. The formula goes everywhere. Everybody gets sick. And they all want to fuck Morty. And then he changed it to where they all want to fuck Morty and kill him after. So it's funny. And the whole Tom and Jerry, the whole Beth and Jerry thing, he basically saves her life and becomes a badass and saves Summer and her life. And they go on living in the Cronenberg world. Which brings up several questions. First off, in the episodes after this, there's a couple episodes where it seems like Rick actually cares about Summer and also Beth. Yet he doesn't care enough about this version's Beth and Summer, so I don't really get, like, this whole thing. Maybe it's just because it's season 1. But, like, especially in season 3, it seems like he actually gives a damn about, like, Summer and Beth. So I don't really understand, like, why this happens. Because in this, like, episode, he doesn't give a shit about them, but in the future episodes, he does kind of give a shit about them, so that's something to ask ourselves. And then there's the whole, at the end credit scene, where Rick and Cronenberg Morty are there because they ruined their reality too. That's pretty funny, but there's a part where Beth says, I don't know where Rick and Morty are, but I'm kind of glad they're gone because I'm actually happy for once. That's a bad parent. I'm sorry, but you're kind of a cunt. Like, I understand your dad. He's like a fucking asshole and stuff like that. But to blame it on your son as well when it's not even his fault, it's your dad's fault. I guess it's slightly Morty's fault at the same time, but mostly Rick's fault. So, yeah, that's kind of a horrible parent. That'd be really shitty if Morty heard that, you know? He'd be like, oh, thanks, Mom. I guess you don't really give a shit about me. And then it's just like, Jerry, I guess, thinks the same way, so... that'd be really shitty to hear. But luckily he didn't hear that, and he goes to a different reality, which scars him for life, I assume. So anyways, it's a good episode. Pretty funny. But it does give some questions of, like, why is Rick so, like, interested in his family in the more recent episodes, and Beth, kind of a bad parent. But anyways, I guess Jerry too. But anyways, that's for this one, episode 7. Hey guys, just reminding to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and all that good stuff. Watch my other content too. Now back to the show. Rick and Morty, Season 1, Episode 7. This episode... Could you shush? Could you shush, kitty cat? Shush, shush. Shush. Anyways, this episode... pretty funny. This is the episode where Morty gets a sex robot. He fucks it and it gets pregnant because supposedly it's a sex robot that can get pregnant. And it turns out that he has a son, and the son is one of the most dangerous creatures in the universe. It's pretty funny. And it turns out that the place it came from has men and women, and the women are like a matriarch, I think it is. Patriarchy is a man, matriarch is a woman, I think. So it's a matriarch to the society. Personally, I think men and women should just get along, but whatever, I guess. Brings up some political views in this episode, like the women only get paid 70% per dollar the man get paid, even though that's not really true and there's been studies on it, but whatever, I guess, to each their own. Pretty cool, pretty funny episode. And at the end, he writes a novel about his horrible father. And Jerry and Beth are just like, it's a thankless... Well, Beth is just like, it's a thankless job, Morty. It's a thankless job. A pretty good episode. Pretty funny. That's all I gotta say about this episode. Let's move on to episode 8. So, Rick and Morty, Season 1, Episode 8. This episode is the different dimensional TV episode. An episode that they've done every season, except for Season 3, of course. They've done Season 1 TV episode, Season 2 TV episode, and then Season 3 they did Mind Blowers, which is basically just Morty's memories. They're doing an episode like this every season. I think I heard that somewhere. So it's pretty cool, pretty interesting. This episode was pretty cool and pretty interesting. It was funny. It had some feels in there. Where Morty's just like, Summer, listen, you're being dumb. Your real brother's dead, by the way. If I was Summer, I'd be a little bit more concerned about that. But I guess she's okay with it. Which is weird, but whatever, I guess. And if you think about it, we're not even with that Summer anymore. Or Beth, or Jerry, because we're with a totally different dimension because the squirrels made Morty and Rick leave that dimension. Or was that a totally different dimension? They left one we know they left 2 dimensions. One because of squirrels and one because they corn-brokered it. So that's pretty interesting and funny. But all in all, this episode was pretty cool. Beth and Jerry are fighting and almost get divorced again, but they get back together in this episode. Because even TV star Jerry still loves Beth. Pretty funny, pretty cool, and yeah, so that's the episode. It's just a funny, cool episode. I wish I had that magical crystal that gave me dimensional TV, because that'd be awesome. I want to see what happens with that bear with the spider web. But anyways, let's move on to episode 9. Rick and Morty, season 1, episode 9. This episode, pretty good. It had 2 plot lines. The first one was Jerry and Morty doing a science fair project. The solar system, and Pluto is not a planet anymore. Sadly, I love Pluto. It used to be the best planet. I'm just joking. I do like Pluto, though. It's a pretty cool planet. Named after the dog. I don't know if that's true or not. But Pluto's not a planet anymore. Jerry says it still is, but it's not. So there's a whole thing there where he goes to Pluto and stuff, and at the end he realizes that it's not a planet anymore because they're mining it. Although in reality, I'm pretty sure it's because it's too small to be a planet, but people still call it Pluto. And then there's a subplot. I mean, well, not a subplot, just a plot between Rick and Summer. Beth's not in this episode, at least, well, I guess you do see her once, but she's not in this episode, really. So, Jerry and Summer, basically, Summer's working for the devil himself, and he's selling goods to people that have magical curses on them, which I gotta say, is pretty cool. And then Rick basically makes it so he changes everything about them and turns them into, like, objects that just have magical properties. They don't have the curse anymore, which is really cool. I really want to. If I was there, I would totally grab that, like, some of that magical curse stuff and just take it with me and be like, "Oh, cool, man! Look at all this magical curse stuff." And then I would take it to Rick and I'm like, "Just fix all this for me." That would be awesome. I want some magical curse stuff that will not curse me because Rick fixes it for me. I'm just saying, if that was an option, I'd totally do that. But yeah, that happens. It's pretty cool, pretty funny. And then at the end, they beat up the devil because the devil's the devil, and he screws over Summer, even though Summer kind of helps him. She helps him. He screws her over, so Rick and Summer become strong and screw him over. So all in all, it was pretty good. Let's move on to episode 9. Buff Rick and Buff Summer, pretty funny. And I remember, X gonna give it to you. Let's move on to episode 10, because we're on episode 9, so let's move on to episode 10. Rick and Morty, season 1, episode 10. This episode is the first time we meet Evil Morty. We don't get much backstory on Evil Morty in this episode. But we do get some backstory on Rick in this episode. We get that he has memories of Morty as a child, even though he should not have those memories. I have more in-depth theories on this. If you want to see them, I'll probably leave them in the description below. I will leave them in the description below. I'll leave the playlist as well. Maybe not. But the things. I'll put the playlist at the end of the video in the square. I'll try to, at least, if I remember. But anyways, this episode is the first episode where we see Evil Morty. Really interesting episode. The first episode where we see the Council of Ricks. It's an interesting episode. It's a good episode. And oh boy, does it lead up to one of the best episodes, which is in season 3. Rick Lantis, I think it is. Or, yeah, I think that's it. Leads up to that episode. That's one of the best episodes. I just can't wait till season 4 to see what happens. I hope they bring back Evil Morty. Let's just say that much. But anyways, this episode pretty good. Let's move on to episode 11. Rick and Morty, season 1, episode 11. The season finale of Rick and Morty. And I gotta say, it was pretty good. Lackluster compared to the second one, if I'm not mistaken. The second one has the giant head, if I'm not mistaken, at the end. No, wait, the second one has him being arrested, sorry. Not the giant head. The giant head is in the second one, but somewhere along the lines. Or maybe it's the third. No, it's in the second one. I don't remember exactly where it's in the second one, but it is somewhere in the second one. But he is with the giant head in the second one. But in the second one, he gets arrested at the end. And then in the third one, it doesn't have the best ending, but it does have a very good episode there. Rick led this. But this is the final episode of season 1. The final episode of Final, I guess. The season finale. Season finale. And it's a fairly good episode. We get a party. I have to agree with Morty, to be honest. Because if someone did that to my house, I'd be pissed as fuck. I would have probably fucking punched Rick in the face, to be honest. And Summer, I'd be like, fuck you, bitch. Just saying, if I was Morty, that's what I probably would have done. But pretty good episode, nonetheless, you know. Pretty awesome, pretty good, all the above. Anyways, on to the next season. We're going to do season 2. And then we're going to do the rest of season 3. I don't know if we're going to have all bunched together or separate, but I think we're going to have it all bunched together, probably season 3. And then season 4, whenever that comes out, we will be reviewing that. And also, there is going to be a review after this, not season 2, but there is going to be another show I'm going to review, season by season by season, except for the next season that comes out, hopefully. I'm not going to start reviewing that just yet, but I'm going to start probably tomorrow. Maybe today. Who knows? But anyways, that's the end of Rick and Morty Season 1 review. Hope you liked it. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and share. And as always, my friends, stay sane. Peace.
Peace.